Hello, my name's Ross. Welcome along. What I thought we'd go through today is really a basic setup for your Unifi environment. This is the Unifi Express that we did the video of us unboxing and setting up live. Okay? It's a horrible video. I hate it, but I thought it was really important for you to see just exactly really what goes on and how simple it actually is. It's not difficult to set them up. You register with unifi.com or ui.com, create an account, and then you can start to adopt your stuff into it. So here we are. Okay, what we've got, let's just zoom in a little bit. So the left-hand side of the screen, you've got a summary of information about what's happening. And really what we're interested in doing today is we'll go through the settings of it, and then we'll set a couple of things up. But for your side and for your piece of information, this page will give you a really nice summary of actually what's going on across your network, and it's accessible either on your phone or, as I say, from going to unifi.ui.com and selecting your network. It'll tell you who's accessing things, who the most active client is, everything like that. You can see at the moment, we've got nothing connected to the network, right? There's a reason for it, and it's because I'm going to do the reconfig while we're here. You can see as well, you've got the health of the network. Now, because I moved the network through or moved it into a different room, you can see it dropped off the network and came back. So it tells you as well if you're having problems. So when somebody says, oh, it's not working, you'll be able to see if something's happened there. And that helps you work out if there's anything you need to do. Okay. What we'll do now is let's go into the settings, which is the cog. Okay, so I'm going to select cog. And this tells you what's happening, what all the networks are, everything like that. We've got one network, a Wi-Fi network here, War Kids, okay, on the Wi-Fi. If we select networks, which is then the actual network, and then the Wi-Fi is the Wi-Fi side of the network, we can see we've got default, okay? Further down, we've got internet, tells us the internet settings. So we've got security here. We are going to make some changes on security. There's some important things you should really do, just recommended best practice. Okay. Might be one of the more technical parts of what we're going to do today, but hopefully you won't be struggling and you'll be, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. What we've then got further down, got routing, which you don't need to worry about. We've got profiles. I'm not really going to talk too much about that. You might want to use profiles. So if your kids are using all the bandwidth and say you need to be able to do your conference calls with work or more important things, you can do that. That's how you will do things in here, especially with this Wi-Fi speed limit. Okay. Got the system settings, tells you a bit about the system. If you've got any updates or the automatic updates that you go through here, you can click there to see what the actual status is of everything. And now you've got the control plane, which is useful. Again, that tells you everything around any updates here that you need to do. You've got backups and console. Okay, again, you don't need to worry anything about these at this point in time. It's just useful for you to see. And lastly, you've got users. I won't click on it, it just shows you my username, my email, that sort of thing. Okay, but you can add additional people in there. You don't need to, no one needs to be in there who you don't want. If you choose, you could obviously share your account information with your partner. So you're going to be, United Front managing the IT stuff for the kids. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. That will work. That's where you could do it if you wanted to have different accounts for it. What we're going to do now is we're going to do the setup that we need to do. Right. So step number one is we go to security. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to say we've got traffic identification. We just want to make sure that's ticked. We've got device identification. We want to make sure that's ticked. Okay. We're going to turn on ad blocking. Gives us a basic ad blocking filter that'll just start to stop things like pop-up ads coming through into your network. It's just nice to have. Okay. I think personally, big tick for me. That's a win-win. Next thing is country restrictions. Say block both directions, select the country and territory. So typically, as I say, things that are recommended is Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq. Again, if you have family or anything like that, there's nothing wrong with leaving these. These are just kind of like ones where potentially, these wouldn't be, these are where we would set, where it's known that there can be malicious actors or people trying to get into your network from. So you generally just block them. So we've gone through a few there. We can hit save. I'm sure there's one I've missed there, and I can't think what it is off the top of my head. But yeah, you just go through, you'd add those, and you could edit that list, add additional ones, and we're blocking it both directions. So if I was trying to access a site in, say, China, it would be blocked. If China was trying to access me, it would be blocked. Okay? It's a basic protection. It helps. It's definitely not something you should be going, yeah, we're fully protected. But again, little things help. Okay? You can go through and do traffic and firewall rules. I'm not going to do that in the scale of this video because, again, we're going to keep this simple. I don't want to make this complicated. But if you need to do more, that's where you can do those. Okay? Now, the fun bit. Oh, I meant to hit apply changes. See? So we've got that saved. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the internet. Okay? Because that's what we want to do. We want to manage how do we get to the internet? What controls we put in place? And this is almost the most important thing. So we click on our WAN connection. So WAN is like the wide area. That's where your broadband is coming in. So for us, we've got the little network port you saw me plug in on the video. Okay. And we can see the name of the device that's coming in. I'll zoom in a bit here. It's really important. Okay. Oh. Well, all sorts of other information here, which is set to auto by default. Okay, and that's absolutely fine. You can set that down to manual. It's probably be the right thing to do because there's a couple of things we're going to do here. And then as we come down here, do you remember one of the things we said was really important was DNS server? So at the moment, the DNS server is set to auto. Okay, so they're going to whichever one is recommended by the ISP, basically. We can turn around and say we don't want to do that. We want to go to somebody else. Okay, so for the sake of this, I'm going to go with Quad 9. So 999.9.9.9. Okay, yeah, Quad 9. So Quad 9's, I'll put a link down below, is one. This blocks malware, there's sorts of things like that you can do. They have different options available for you. It'd be very nice if instead of criticizing parents, the UK government actually took some steps, set up a service like this that would be enabled for families in the UK to be able to put their kids' safety first. Block social media, block other things, potentially have 2 or 3 of them. Really simple. Instead of criticizing people, why don't you try helping them? Just my 2 cents there. If you disagree, put a comment down below. Okay? But anyway, we've put Quad 9's, Swiss one, doesn't do it. You can get DNS server information from other places. We've got a link, or I'll put a link again to another article that we've done in the video in the description, but also it'll be on the blog, talking about DNS services that are available, and we try and update those and maintain them. So Quad 9's is what we've done this. It might be different by the time you watch this video, but Quad 9's is a reasonable one at the moment. Okay, pretty good. Blocks malware as well, so it's again, very useful. With that done, let's zoom out again and we'll go through and we'll hit apply changes. And now the fun begins, right? This is the part that's really important for you to understand and kind of get your head around as a parent. What we want at home is internet available for people, right? Now, most of our kids are going to access the internet with phones, okay, or with tablets or with laptops, things like that, okay? But they'll be wireless, so Wi-Fi. So we can do this with Wi-Fi very easily. Let's do this really simply, okay? So we're going to start with networks, okay? And I'll zoom in again so we can actually go through what we're doing. So what we've got here is default. That's all you need to think about. I've got default here. What we're going to do is we're going to create a new virtual network, okay? Now, the reason why we're going to create a new virtual network is we're going to create a virtual network with its own Wi-Fi, and that's what the kids are going to use, okay? And the default that we've got, that's what we're going to use, right? If you want to go further, you can create a third one that might be for your guests, and you can set guest Wi-Fi up on that as well. I'll not do that with this video, but it's very similar. It's just a couple of tick boxes that you do as we go through, and I'll point them out, okay? Unifi is pretty good at actually separating them out well for you, so you don't need to do too much. I will mention a couple of best practice things. It's up to you if you want to listen, but it will all work for you pretty easily. So So I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new virtual network. You'll see it comes up with the network, kids network, okay? It's going to be on the Unifi Express. It's going to be IPv4, which is fine, okay? And you can see here, it's given it this address range, okay? Now, what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to click manual because there's a best practice thing that I want to point out. You've got here this VLAN ID of 2, and this is 1. Now, best practice is to match the third set of numbers with the VLAN ID. That's just best practice. It makes it easier if you're doing any diagnostic stuff later. So don't worry about it if you go, I don't understand. Don't worry. All I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to say, well, I'm going to change this to be 2. Okay? I'm going to leave that at 24. And what you can see is it's now saying, all right, yeah, you're going to have 249 usable things. So if your kids have up to 249 devices before this is going to stop working for them. So that's easy, isn't it? That's not too bad. Okay. We're going to keep coming down. Okay. And you can see we've got guest network, which is B if it was a guest network, if you want to set one of them. We've got isolate the network, which is where you're saying all the devices can't talk to each other. If it's guest, then they can't talk to each other, but you can also have like a login screen if you want. Okay. It's entirely up to you if you want to do it. Got content filtering. So again, what we could do is we could say, well, we're going to put family content filtering on here. So again, it's going to block VPNs. It's going to block explicit, pornographic, malicious domains, search engines and YouTube set to safe mode, which I think is pretty good. So we'll set that by default. We'll just tick that box, okay? And then the rest of the stuff, we don't need to worry about. So right at the bottom, we're just going to click add. Okay, so far, that's not been too much trouble, has it? Really? Okay. And we can now see up here, we've got VLAN number 1 and we've got VLAN number 2. Okay. So we've got the kids network, which has got the family protection on it. It's got all sorts of stuff like that on it. That's what we want to put in place. But right now, the kids can't access Wi-Fi. There's no Wi-Fi connection for it. So now let's go and make sure that they can use their devices. Let's set up the Wi-Fi. So we're going to come into Wi-Fi. We're going to go to create new. We're going to give it a name. So we'll call this kids Wi-Fi. Let's put an underscore in there. So it's there. Okay, we'll give it a name. Give it a password, sorry. There we go, right? So we've given it a name. We're going to select the network. We want this to be the kids network. Let's zoom in a bit on this so we can see it a bit better. Okay. I'm going to come through to manual here just to go through a couple of things with you, all right? So we're going to come down. Okay, we've got the network strength for it. We've got the band steering, which all these are fine. Don't worry about them. If you wanted to put them on a restriction, you would tick here the Wi-Fi speed limit. We could create a new profile and select that, and that would then restrict what they could access and how the speed that they could access it. Okay, but we'll come all the way down, and you can see we can also do a Wi-Fi blackout scheduler. If I zoom out so you can see it, we could actually say to them, right, you can use it, pick. So we could say, repeat every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They can start time. We could say, well, you can use it, well, when they get back from school, say. So we'll say, let's say for the sake of argument, 3:30 till, and we could say, well, we're going to say 3:30 till, let's say 9:30, just for the sake of argument. Okay? So save that. So we can see Monday to Friday. That's when it's available for them to use. You could change times for weekends. You could do whatever you want with it. Okay. I'm not going to say what you should and shouldn't do, but this is a nice thing because what it means is simply the internet won't work. Okay? The device will still work, but the internet side of it won't. But you find if you do things like this, it takes so much of the argument side out of things. Right? Need to back this up further with proper device restrictions if you want to do that. So that's where the family safety protocols will come through, where actually the device simply stops working at a particular time. But what we could do with this, say, is we could say, well, your online side is going to stop working, and then you decide what you want to do with the rest. Whatever works for your family, though, is what works. It's not what I say to you, it's what works for you. This has to be something that works for you. So we've got that. So what we'll do next is we'll click to add the network. So we're going to add that. And suddenly what we've now got is another wireless network available for us. So if I went and I checked my Wi-Fi, we would see two networks, one with War Kids and one with Kids Wi-Fi. And the Kids Wi-Fi at the moment, they could connect to it, which is important. So it's available, you can connect to it, but you would not be able to actually get any internet access available from it because it's in the blackout point. So that's something to be aware of. We'll show, so it's not a case of being able to go, oh, it's there, it's terrible. It's available, but you won't be able to do anything when you connect to it, all right? So that's simple enough, I hope. So if you've been watching this, please let me know. Are these the videos you want to see? Are we doing it at the right level as well? Okay, I'm deliberately trying to make something that is not technical or has the minimal technical information that I can, with a view of this is inclusive. You guys want help. I know from my side with my kids that I was always, oh, your child's doing something that they shouldn't be doing online. What are you doing about it? We did a lot, and equally, the school there was no joined up discussion, there was no support, there was no help. So I'm kind of really keen that we build a community of people who are keen to help, right? Getting this is step one. Taking control of what comes into your network is really important, because your kids, they're going to sit in front of their phones, in front of their tablets, on their laptops. They might say they're doing homework, they might say they're doing something else. At some point, though, you have to be able to trust them. And that trust is the important thing. That's part of what being a parent is we want to raise our children to be trustworthy people. And part of that, we have to trust that they will make good decisions and do the right things online. So getting this right is really important to me, and getting it right was something that I really struggled with doing. And I hope we've about found a right balance with this, that by putting in place the controls, the expectation is set. You're not having to, sorry, because this is about you, you're not having to go to your child and say, right, iPad's off, you've had enough screen time, you've done this, because we can put in place things where, firstly, the network side goes off. So they might have to just play offline games, or they can do if that's what they're doing, that's fine. Or they can just do homework rather than playing online games. And then at some point as well, we can put family safety controls in. We can do another video on that, where it will then just stop it working at that time. So suddenly it gets to the point of saying, well, I'm not having to say, you've got 10 minutes left, coming back, and give me the hamburger, right? Which is terrible. It doesn't help, and it adds massive frustrations to both you as a parent, but also to your child. And what we're trying to do with this is come up with a way where children can have that element of agency from quite a young age and start to actually build up responsible usage, where they can go, oh, I can see I've got 10 minutes left. I better do something about it. I'm going to save my game now so I don't lose everything. Suddenly they're taking responsibility for their actions, rather than it being a case of, oh, I've got 10 minutes, and then you're clock watching, and then they're going. So hopefully you'll help. But yeah, let me know down below. Does it work? Does it not work? As I say, comment on the blog, see what's going on. If this gets bigger and actually is something that people are interested in, we'll set this up with its own website, with its own proper YouTube channel as well, and we'll get everything going all properly. At the moment, I don't know what we're doing with this in terms of, is it something that is going to be spun out from the business, or is it going to be something that's going to remain part of our business? I don't know. But let me know down below.